Hey fellow modelers, Will here. Welcome to the Ensign's Chair. Welcome to another traveling build. Now I'm starting this one from home because I'm not going to take the box with me, and I'll show you why here in a second. This build is going to be the Bandai 1/850 scale USS Voyager. Now the reason I'm not going to take this box with me is because one, it's already pretty badly worn. It's actually, I had to tape it up because it's starting to come apart on me. But not only that, but it's going to take up a lot of real estate in my bags, and I try not to pack a whole lot when I go out. So I'm going to take everything out of the box, and I'm just going to take the parts bags and the instructions and that with me, and I'm going to leave the cardboard box itself here at home so that it doesn't get any more degraded or damaged. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this. Give me a minute. I'll put you on the bench. We'll take a look. Alright, so here it is. Here's the 1/850 scale Bandai USS Voyager. And this is, they did several models. If you haven't watched one of the other the other traveling build I did. They did the NX-01, which I did last time. They did the refit, which I've got to get a hold of one of those yet. And then they also did the Enterprise E. So, all of them except for the Enterprise E are going to be 1/850. The Enterprise E, I think, is actually 1 in 1700. So it'll be interesting. I may do that one too. I don't know. These are pretty pricey, but I do want to at least get a hold of one of the Voyagers. So we'll see if I can find one on a good deal like I did these. These two models here. This one here, I got, what's it? I think I'll say $200. And if you try to get these now, they go for, I haven't seen hardly any for under $500 on eBay or that. So I got a pretty good deal on this. I got this, and then I got the NX-01 for $150 at Wonderfest last year. So if you haven't been to Wonderfest, try to go. It's in Louisville, Kentucky every year. So you can get some pretty good deals on stuff there. But let's move on to this. So here we have the box, and it's got your regular artwork. It just talks about the different features. These are pre-painted, so you don't have to paint anything. Everything's already detailed out for you. The nacelles do move on this model, so you can change their position. Not only that, but it also comes with the landing gear if you want to pose it like that. So gives you a couple pretty good options. But it's got some different pictures from the show, and the rest of it's pretty much. We've got these pictures here. Just shows the back, the hangar shuttle bay, and your landing gear again. So these are also, again, if you're not aware of these kits, they are, they are pre-lit, or they will be lit once you complete the kit. So I had a little bit of a hit and miss on the NX-01 as far as how I like the lighting on that. So we're going to see how this one turns out when I build it. But let's open the box up and take a look at what we got here. And the great thing about these kits, now this isn't, obviously this stuff is shifted. It's been gone through before, but all the parts are here. But I like the way they display these. When you open the box, you typically get the main hull of the ship. And I don't know if you can see that, but not only does it have panel lines, but it's shaded. That's pretty cool that they actually did that. It gives a little bit of depth to it, even though these aren't maybe a little bit of a texture to them, but they've actually shaded these some, if that's coming out on the camera. So that's actually pretty cool. And everything else is detailed real nice. This is, I don't know what color this is coming up as on the camera. This is kind of a light blue, which is correct for the filming model. Even though on TV it mostly appeared gray, this is actually the correct color. So that's nice to see. They've got nice detailed phaser banks on this. And I just really like the way they've done this. They've done a real good job. And that's one thing I could say about the NX-01 model. They did a really nice job. Even the numbering on the lifeboats is legible. If I had a magnifying glass, I could probably read the number on each of these. And it does even look like, it looks like they've even put different numbers on each of the pods. So that's actually pretty neat that they did that. And let's see what else we got here. Got another parts tree. Here's our deflector housing. Here's our, I guess this would be kind of your strong back and your deflector itself. And I'm guessing that part, the other part of this is probably going to be a clear part. But again, everything's nicely detailed. Here's the bridge. Very nice. Let's look at some of these other parts here. And this looks like the actual undersection of our underbelly of our engineering hull here, and the back end on the underside as well. Again, very nicely detailed. You can read the Voyager hull markings. As small as they are, you can actually read them. And it looks like these are going to be where your landing gear insert, if you want to display it like that. Some of the side markings. We've got our delta. Very nice. And our warp nacelles. Again, they've done the shading on this. If it's coming through on the camera, they've done the shading. Looks real nice. All the color looks good. And you've got your delta and your markings for top of the nacelle. Or maybe that's actually the underside of the nacelle. Yeah, that's actually the underside of the nacelle. So, and it looks like we've got a spot where some clear parts are going to insert into the nacelle here for lighting. And some mounting parts that's going to go on the inside. We do have some clear parts here too. And this is pretty much how they do the lighting on these models. You get one big clear piece of plastic and only a couple lights that go into it that kind of light this up, and it's supposed to carry the light. And hopefully this does better than it did on the NX-01. It really didn't do a very good job of carrying the light on the NX build. So we'll see how this one does. But it's two separate pieces. You've got the top part and you've got the bottom half. So that is different from the NX. The NX was just one piece. So maybe that'll help carry the light on this model a little better. And then we've got our clear parts that are already pre-colored. We've got our nacelle parts and our clear part for our deflector dish. And our also looks like some of our navigation lights. And that's one thing. Let me see about this model. I don't see where they painted any navigation lights. So hopefully these lights are actually all lit. And just some assembly parts. A lot of this is for the base. A lot of these metal pieces and connectors and wires. And then this is probably the lights. Okay, so this is actually kind of a preform plastic piece that's going to go into the engineering hull. This is where our base is going to connect to. And you've also, this looks like this is going to be the light that lights the deflector in the front. So it's kind of neat how they engineered some of these parts, and they have it in this box, I guess, to protect it so it doesn't get damaged, which is good since the outside box got damaged. And there's our shuttle bay back in and the underside for that, and some more detailed parts. And then we've got the display stand, which looks like the same display stand they basically used for the NX. It's the same delta. It's blacked out, and yeah, it looks like it's pretty much the same. And then we've got our clear parts for the secondary hull for our windows and everything on. These are multiple parts, so I'm hoping they've got a bulb or a few bulbs in each of these, and that way these will light up better than what the NX did. So we'll see how that does. And then we've got our instruction book, and Bandai does a real good job of laying out the instructions. It gives you the parts list to make sure you're not missing any parts, which I've already gone through. And talks about the tools you need. Really the only thing you need to assemble these is a good pair of snips, which I've got. A good pair of snips, and then you just snip the parts off cleanly at the attachment point. And really I think the only place you need the screwdriver is to attach the cover plate for the batteries on the battery box. But other than that, all you need is a pair of snips to assemble these. because you don't want to twist these off of the parts tree. You want to cut them off with a pair of snips. That way you don't break off a piece of the plastic. A lot of languages that I don't know. And you don't have to be able to read these, but even though they are in English as well, it does a real good job of detailing all the parts that go together. It looks like we're going to be starting with the wart nacelles on this one. And then they always put a little bit of information at the middle of it as far as the designer, which was apparently Rick Sternbach for this model. So gives you a little background information on it. So it always show you some of the variations that were planned that weren't used. So that's pretty cool. And then again, the rest of the instructions. And this looks like another relatively, now this is interesting. They've got some type of globes, which I haven't looked at yet, which is apparently part of the lights bag. It looks like they've got some type of lighting globe that's going to help light these up. That might be help to disperse the light a little bit better. So that's going to be interesting to look at when I do this. When I do this build, I didn't really go into detail on the build for the NX, but I will go into it a little bit more on this one and show some of the steps that are involved. Especially with these little globes they keep showing. There's one there too. That's going to be interesting to see how that works. So, but yeah, so I will do a follow-up to this showing some of the assembly steps to it. It's pretty simple assembly on these. So yeah, so here's those little globes. I don't know how well they show up through the bag on camera, but they've got a bunch of different cuttings to a bunch of different sides to it. So that way, hopefully it helps disperse the light a little better. And maybe that'll help it do a better job of lighting than the NX kit. But there you have it. I mean, it's just a quick look at this kit and what I'm going to be working on for my next traveling build. Get all this back in here without dropping it all over the place. But again, these kits, they're nice kits. They are relatively expensive. Like I said, this one I have not seen for really less than $500 on eBay. So, you know, it's worth what it's worth to you. So, you know, a lot of people, some people will go by, well, you know, it's $500 for what's probably going to equate to, I expect this is probably going to take maybe 2 hours to build. So you don't get a lot of build time out of it, but you do get a beautiful model at the end that's going to be nice for displaying. So give me a minute, let me flip this camera around, we'll wrap this up. Alright guys, so there you have it. There's the preview of the build of the Bandai 1/850 scale USS Voyager that I'm going to be doing here probably in the next, sometime between now and Christmas. I'll have it out. So like I said, I will do a progress video just to kind of show some of the steps of putting this together. And I may just roll that into wrapping it up at the same time, or I may do a separate review on it. So, but guys, I appreciate you watching these videos. I hope you get some use out of them, or you find information useful. Maybe it helps you make a decision as to whether or not you want to invest in one of these models. But like I said, stay tuned for the follow-up on this. I've also got the Big Bird over here behind me that is drying. I've done some painting on it, and I'm going to have a video out on that probably Thanksgiving weekend. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for subscribing. Till next time, keep modeling.